This podcast is sponsored by Two Fat Lardies. Check them out at www.twofatlardies.co.uk and play the period, not the rules. This vidcast is sponsored by Caliber Books. More stuff for wargamers than anyone else on the planet. Check out their website for more details. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Meeples and Miniatures Miniature Review Show with me, your host, Neil Shuck. On today's show, we're looking at a recent release from the Plastic Soldier Company. This is the German 251D half-track. Difference being this is the 1/72nd variant of the half-track as opposed to the previous 15mm. Now, immediately of note is that we've got the same box art, just with a different colour flash. So obviously bigger box, red flash as opposed to black, so which identifies it as 1/72nd scale. So there are three vehicles available in the box. Here's the rear cover art with the painting guide, again very similar to what we've seen before. So let's have a look at what you get in the box, and you get three of this single sprue. Immediately of note is you've got a couple of differences and a couple of different options available, and there was one huge difference between this 251D and the 15mm variant, and that is in what you can build. On the standard 251 without the conversion kit, you can only build the standard variant of the vehicle. This particular vehicle enables you also to build the 25110 command track. Okay, so looking at the sprue, what you've got a couple of gunners, and you've got a couple of drivers and several other seated crew, plus some stowage as well. Very easy to put together these. As I say, and this is what they get you to build. There's either the standard 251D variant, which is what you see here, or you get the command variant. Okay, let's take a tour around the standard variant, shall we? Immediately you see a few differences and a few extra bits and pieces from the 15mm version. First off, the forward-facing NG42 actually has a crew member, has a gunner attached to it. Also, as well as making up the hull, there's also loads of little bits of stowage which can be put on the side of the hull, and you'll see that as we move around the vehicle. Now, let's just compare this to its 15mm variant. And here you see the size difference. A fair difference in size, but other than that, as you can see, it's pretty much exactly the same kit. Now the crew is available in 15mm, I just didn't bother putting it in this particular one. Okay, so there is some crew available in the 15mm variant, but as I say, I didn't bother doing that. So here we are, again, back to the standard variation in the standard 251D, and we'll take a quick tour around. There's a couple of different things you can do with the front. This one's got a spare wheel on the front, spare tyre, should I say. You can put the crew in different places. There's a couple of bits of stowage. The Panzerschreck is flat on one side, so it sticks nicely to the hull, but it can be fitted either side, I suppose. One thing to note is that the superstructure of the hull immediately above the tracks is actually a separate piece on both sides, so which you kind of glue and slide in. So, you have to be a little bit clever just to make sure that you get the whole thing flush. Didn't quite manage it on this one. But no faffing around with the tracks on this one because everything's in one piece. As you go towards the back, you can see obviously how I've glued. There's a couple of jerry cans which can glue onto the back door, and there's a tow bar on the back as well. And as you can see from this shot, you can just about see inside to see driver and co-driver at the front. They actually, as I say, you effectively build the hull around them, so they're in there. If you want to paint them, you might want to consider painting them before you put the whole thing together. Okay, here's a couple of close-ups just to kind of show you a bit more of the interior detail with the benches and what have you. Yeah, it's a bit of a cosy fit, especially getting gluing the gunner in and stuff. So, as you can see, actually, with the way the guy on the left has been slotted into between the guys on the right, he's actually got his legs open, and the one guy has got his knees between them. Whether or not that's a compromising position, I don't know. But it's really one of the only ways you can actually fit the vehicle into each, fit them on the vehicle. So it's a fairly tight squeeze, it has to be said. Okay, so let's have a look at the 25110. Okay, this is the command track, and we'll take a tour around the vehicle again. Obviously, the main difference with this command track over that of the standard 251 is the addition of the 37mm anti-tank gun on the front. This has a different gunner to that of the MG42. As you can see, there's also a variation with what you can fit on the front of the vehicle as well. So this actually has a tow cable on it as opposed to a tyre. It's one of the variations. As you scroll around, I did note that that piece of superstructure immediately above the tracks I put together a lot better on this. This one, I actually built this one second, and I actually managed to get it to go together much better than the 251D. Again, you'll see it's built in exactly the same way once you start looking at the interior detail. Again, you can see the driver and co-driver, the benches on the inside, and so obviously a selection of crew sat in there as well. It's worth noting with both of these vehicles just how easy they are to put together. It's a feature, I think, of the 1/72nd scale vehicles as opposed to their 15mm brethren. Because they're that much bigger, they're actually a lot less fiddly, and so these two vehicles are really quite easy to put together. Obviously, you can put a load of stowage that is supplied on the sprue onto the tracks. There is, to say, a fair amount of stowage, and you can put as much or as little onto the half track as you so wish. It's a really nice kit. It certainly gives you a lot more options. And as you know, most people either have the 25110 or the standard 251. When it comes down to putting your platoons together, especially for your Panzer Grenadiers or what have you, then this kit gives you the best options available. Obviously, in the 15mm they've produced a conversion kit, which gives you some extra bits and pieces as well. But in 1/72nd scale, the addition of the 37mm anti-tank gun really means that you only need this one kit for the majority of what you need as far as 251D hard tracks are concerned. So I'm actually really impressed with this kit. Probably one of the only things worth noting as far as just fiddly bits and pieces are concerned are the front wheels and the axles. You've got to be a little bit careful when you put them together, just to make sure that after you've stuck them, they can very easily get misaligned, and so you can potentially end up with wonky wheels if you're not careful. But other than that, it is a simple kit to put together. Again, 10-15 minutes, something like that. Really nice kit. Very impressed with it. So, price-wise, it's standard price really for the 1/72nd scale kits, and that's £12.95 for 3 vehicles. So, priced about £4.30 each, which is very reasonable for this scale vehicle. Does the job, does it well, easy to put together. They're available from the Plastic Soldier Company website, or other major retailers carry them as a matter of course these days as well, so they should be pretty easy to get a hold of. As I say, especially with the addition of the 37mm gun onto the sprue, they're a very versatile kit, and you probably only need, if you're building a couple of sections, you probably only need 2 or 3 boxes, and you've got everything you need. So really impressed with these. I'd certainly recommend them. Well, that's all we've got time for on this show. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I shall see you very soon. Bye. This vidcast is sponsored by Coat Paints, the #1 source for all your model painting needs. Check out their website for more details. This vidcast is sponsored by Wargame Soldiers and Strategy magazine. Check out their website at www.wssmagazine.com.